I recently did a video where I forged several of these Chinese cleaver style chef's knives. They're not cleavers, they're knives, nice thin and slicey. And I had several, actually all of them except for this one, that warped up to the point where I could not complete them and sell them. Now you might not be able to see it, but it does have a warp down on the bottom half of the blade here to the point where I am not satisfied with that. The spine is nice and straight, but I had a lot of people comment asking or suggesting, why don't I simply clamp my blades in between a couple aluminum plates or something along those lines, even a piece of wood or some kind of angle iron, anything to just go ahead and hold that blade straight post quench, assuming you don't quench all the way down to ambient. Well, the reason for that is relatively simple, that I have not delved into that, because if you'll notice here, down towards the ricasso area, we're about 110, 115 thousandths on this blade. And then up here, we are about 90 thousandths. And then if you, pardon me, if you go ahead and look at the edge here, this is about 70, right at the edge, it's about 50 thousandths. That's because I forged a distal taper, which it gets thinner from here to here, as a good quality knife typically does. And of course, I forged in the bevel, and so it gets thinner down to the edge. On my final project where I completed the knife as I wanted to, I did not forge the bevel, but I did still forge the distal taper. Now, just a distal taper would make that easier to clamp this in some kind of thing to keep it straight. But when you have a compound bevel to this, it becomes a little more difficult to keep that flat and have it contact all of the surface areas. The best way would probably be to move this to the corner right here and clamp heavily here and here, something like that. But this is not the only style of knife that I do. I also do a lot of different blades, such as this little utility hunting knife. And you'll notice once again it has a forged distal taper, and of course I forged in the bevel. This is actually finished ground, so obviously the bevel's there. But really the only flat part is right around here on the ricasso, because it also tapers back down towards the tang. The tang is tapered as well. And so it becomes increasingly difficult on a number of these different forged blades, most of them is what I mean, to actually clamp them in an effective way to get them straight. Most of the time, I don't have any problem getting the knives straightened out of the quench if there's any little warps or wobbles. The thinness of these blades and the extent to which I forged in the bevels gave me some additional problems to work through. But all that to say, that is why I have not delved into clamping my blades in general, and I simply prefer to master the steel in such a way as to straighten it and have it stay straight, instead of trying to force it straight. The reason I have these aluminum plates at all is because for the few, or rare I should say, stainless steel blades that I do make, I have used a plate quench for the thin stock, and in that case the stock is the same thickness all the way through. There's no bevel, no distal taper at that point in the process, and so clamping them and keeping them nice and straight and flat is very simple and makes a lot of sense in that case. And there you go, guys. That's my explanation. Thanks for watching.